Good morning, everyone. This is Charalambos Pissouros, Senior Analyst at IronFX, bringing you the morning comment for the 3rd of July. Today, the initial deadline given to Qatar to comply with a list of 13 demands expires. Nevertheless, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain and Egypt agreed to extend that deadline by 48 hours. If the Arab nations manage to reach an accord within 48 hours, sanctions imposed to Qatar earlier in June are likely to be lifted. It is not clear, though, what happens if Qatar continues to reject the demands. Saudi Arabia and the others may agree on further sanctions, although those are not clear yet. United Arab Emirates Foreign Minister played down the chances of an escalation by saying that the alternative is not escalation but parting ways, suggesting that Qatar may be forced out of the Gulf Cooperation Council. However, in the unlikely event that the situation does escalate, investors' risk appetite may be impacted, with safe haven assets likely to be the main beneficiaries. Oil prices could gain in the short term as well, as the risk of supply disruptions would likely increase. WTI traded higher on Friday after data showed that US crude production declined the weekend on the 23rd of June. The price emerged above the resistance, now turned into support territory of 45.35 and now looks to be headed for a test near 46.70. Last Tuesday, the price broke above the downtrend line taken from the peak of the 29th of May, something that turned the short-term outlook positive in our view. Therefore, we would expect a decisive break above 46.70 to set the stage for extensions towards our next resistance territory of 48.50. Now moving to Australia, during the Asian morning Tuesday, the RBA will announce its rate decision, and the forecast is for the bank to hold its policy unchanged. In recent gatherings, officials maintained a neutral tone overall, but appeared somewhat worried with regards to the labour market. However, the two latest employment reports from Australia have been stellar, which makes us believe that policymakers are likely to tone down their concerns at this meeting. Having said that, though, we don't expect any dramatic shift in rhetoric, but rather a slightly more upbeat tone, as the RBA will probably want to examine more than a couple of months' worth of data before making material changes to its bias. If indeed the bank appears somewhat more sanguine than previously, the Aussie could come under renewed buying interest. Aussie dollar slid somewhat on Friday after it hit resistance at 0.7710, slightly below the longer-term downside resistance line taken from the peak of the 21st of April 2016. Bearing in mind that the rate continues to trade above the short-term uptrend line taken from the low of the 2nd of June, we consider the near-term outlook to be positive. Nevertheless, a lot will depend on the RBA decision tonight. If the bank adopts a more optimistic tone, the pair may rebound and aim for another test near 0.7710. A break above that barrier and the aforementioned longer-term downside resistance line could open the way for our next resistance of 0.7750, defined by the peak of the 21st of March. On the other hand, if Australian policymakers disappoint those who expect a somewhat more upbeat language, the pair could fall back below 0.7665 and may target the crossroad of the 0.7635 support and the uptrend line taken from the low of the 2nd of June. Now, as for today's events, from Eurozone we get the final manufacturing PMIs from several European nations and the Eurozone as a whole. The final figures are expected to confirm the preliminary estimates, and as such, no major response is expected from the euro. We get the manufacturing PMI from the UK as well. The forecast is for the index to have slid, which could weigh on the pound, as it could pour some cold water on market expectations with regards to a Bank of England rate hike at one of its upcoming meetings. In the US, the ISM manufacturing PMI for June is expected to have ticked up. However, taking a look at the preliminary market manufacturing PMI for the month, we believe that the risks surrounding the ISM index are tilted to the downside. Markets will stay closed in Canada in celebration of Canada Day and will close early in the US ahead of the Independence Day. We have two important speakers on today's agenda. Bank of England Governor Mark Carney and Bank of England MPC member Andy Haldane. Following their recent hawkish speeches, we will monitor their comments closely. For more information, please read the full comment on IronFX.com or download our app and get all the information you need to trade. Also, you can follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel, or circle us on Google Plus to get more trading ideas. This is Charalambos Pissouros, Senior Analyst at IronFX, wishing you solid trading.